Good day, everyone. Beautiful day out. So, I made it here, which means you made it here. And where is that, you may be? Well, that's backwards. At Aztalan State Park, National Historic Landmark. So, we're just off the highway along the cornfields. Got a little parking area over here. I won't show it. Don't need to show people's cars. But, so, you come up here and you will find marker mounds. There's several of them here. These are just two in the forefront. If we go around these trees over here, you will see they are aligned basically down a row. As we're walking, I'll show you kind of down into the area. You can see the fort walls down there. And the Crawfish River is down that way. So the Crawfish River leads into the Rock River, and you follow the Rock River, and the Rock River will meet up to the Mississippi, and just a short boat ride down the Mississippi to Aztalan's mothership, their base down in Cahokia. So, as you can see, down by that tree is kind of the start of the marker mounds. And as we're going along, it gets all hilly and wavy. Each one of these is a nice little marker mound. So, moving on. It's a little hazy out. Smell of burning something, so more fire somewhere. But I'll let you guys take in the nice, beautiful scenery. We'll make our way over to the signage, see some plaques, see some history, some info. This is one of Wisconsin's most active archeological sites. One time I came here and there was an active archeological tent set up in the middle of everything, and they were working on something. So here we are. Here's some of the plaques here. You guys can pause when you need to, read what you need to. There's also a museum, and there is also a mound north of here called the Princess Mound, where they found the princess dressed in the beaded and shelled dressing or ceremonial clothing or whatnot. The shells and stuff are traced back to the down the Mississippi all the way down to the Gulf. So here's another plaque. Kind of back up, read the whole things at once. And again, just pause and read. I could read to you, but I'm sure you'll get sick of my voice by the end of this video. So we'll just restrict that for as much as possible. I tend to ramble, so. And I didn't bring anything to drink with me. The more I talk, the more bleh, mouth will get dry. So, as you can see, it's part of a system. We'll walk over here. I forgot to put my little mini mic on, so I'm gonna do that a little bit later. Gotta love the windy hair. And alright, here's a couple more plaques. As you can see, this one was erected in 1991. But there's much older ones here. We got one here from 1927 talking about the park. It was already a park in 1927, so almost 100 years. So a couple more years and they'll be having a birthday party, I'm assuming. And here's another one in 1964 when it was registered. And speaking of registering, I had to self-register, so never done that before. It was different the last time I was here. They had those QR codes, tricky little suckers. But so yeah, I'm just gonna walk down this trail here, and we'll get on with the video. All right, so grabbed the brochure from the little information thing, so I'll take a look at that later, read some of that off to you guys. So I got my Atlantis in Wisconsin by Frank Joseph. There we go, as you guys can see now. So it talks about a lot of different stuff here in Wisconsin, lower southern Wisconsin. Northern Wisconsin is a little different story. Some of the stuff that we got here is up in northern Wisconsin is pretty darn old. We got I think in Aztalan County up by the UP is exposed rock, been exposed for 2 billion with a B billion years, so that's some old stuff. This might be also a reason why we kind of get a lot of cryptids and a lot of other stuff. So from the road, I can show you one of the first mounds. This is, let me guess, or I should say not mound, step pyramid mound. Yes, so that, guys, is the northern mound pyramid. That is the moon mound. And how do I know? Well, most people don't pull out a trusty little compass, but the moon mound, for some reason, is on the northern tip of the fort. So I brought my little trusty compass, and as you'll see, I'm facing the same direction as I would be facing the pyramid, and I'm facing absolutely due north. So, one little tidbit, these pyramids, these mounds, are just not placed where they are for no reason at all. Just like all pyramids around, they are aligned with the cardinal points. There is kind of off in the distance, way up there, you see that little brown spot on top of a giant mound, giant hill. But that is due west. So I don't know if that's actually part of things or not. But we definitely have all of the pyramids and everything aligned to the cardinal points. I believe the pyramid of the sun, or the sun mound, is due south, and the Venus mound is east. And of course it would be, because Venus and the eastern sky is, well, like peanut butter and jelly. So we'll be coming up. I could have parked farther down, but I just wanted to take a walk, take a time to look at the plaques and do a bunch of other stuff before we got in the middle of people here at the park. They do have guided tours. They do have guided tours all weekend. During the week to park is open from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you just, like I said, self-register. And so, saying so a lot. Sorry guys. Sorry everyone. We're heading up to the other mounds. Like I said, there is one mound, the Princess Mound, which is on the other side of the area, the main road. It's next to the museum. I am probably not going to stop at the museum today. If you guys enjoy this video, if you want more information, I can certainly drive the 30 minutes and visit here again. I don't need a park sticker for the museum, but the museum is for after. It's a lot of colonial fur trapping, settler type kind of history stuff, log cabins with all the old antique tools and everything that they have pertaining to the Wisconsin industry of the 1820s or whatever. So a lot of fur trading, fur trapping, stuff like that. So yeah, so at least it's a nice day. It's 77 degrees, sunny, finally no rain. We get like 4 days of no rain. Super stoked. So get to work on some yard, much weedage. It's are darn near jungle. So it keeps being hot and it keeps raining. So it's great for growing season. So reminds me I gotta check on those taters. So yeah, I'll just kind of finish up this brief walk and I'll get up to the pyramids. So see you guys soon. Alright guys, super stoked. Finally here, I can see the Crawfish River down over there by the parking. A lot of different parking areas. So, yeah. So there's a lot of areas here. One of the roads that I took to get here was Tyranina Road. If you guys may have heard of it. You guys have done any of your history digging into Aztalan and the surrounding areas. We got Lake Mills just up the river, the famous Rock Lake. Fun fact, Rock Lake is where Mr. Evinrude developed the first outboard boat motor. Why? To get across the lake fast enough. Why? Well, not to have a run-in from the sea serpents that were here, documented many times. You even found a scale on Lake Mendota shore and a vertebrae that was like 20 feet long. So that's cool. But, alright, boots on the ground. Finally here. So I'll turn away from my face so you guys can enjoy the scenery of Aztalan. Alright, let's go. So, coming up to the southern point, to the Pyramid of the Sun. There were temple huts, I believe. The temple hut, I think, opened in the east and had another opening in the west. I assume to track the sun, obviously, in its course around and around of this realm. So, the realm that we live in. Alright. Big hill. Big hill. So, this is the top of the hill. And we're just getting here. So as you can see, it is stepped. It goes up. And then it goes up again with a nice platform that goes around. There's the Venus Mound. A lot of these, they said, had been worn down over time. Some of them have been restored. So, yeah. But here we are. We are in the plaza. Over on the other side, over there, closer to the river, is where the actual living quarters were. And right from the beginning, when we were talking, way up to the north is the Moon Mound. So we'll pull out my trusty little compass to show you guys. So we are standing. I'm going to point this right at. I'm going to stand right at where, and if you can see, Trying to get them both into view. But yes, so at the bottom you can see the green is pretty much pointing straight up to the mound. Kind of over to our left side of the mound, but straight up to the mound. And we'll turn and turn. So, keep pointing it north. Sorry. There we go. So we got it north and flat. For you guys, straight east. Straight east, we have the Venus Mound, the Morning Star, and south, well, here's the Pyramid of the South. It's got stairs, so what we'll do is we'll kind of walk back this way and get a little bit of a farther away view. So all the way across this prairie field of allergies, and we get to the southern pyramid, the Pyramid of the Sun. As you can see, it is a considerable height, and in fact I would almost say that there is a third tier that has not that's really not too visible. You can kind of see it. You can kind of see it right here. There's a line kind of where the stairs start. And so we'll kind of proceed up here. Go up these steps. Yeah, here's like the first tier. It doesn't look steep, but when you are boots on the ground, I mean, that was at this level. So coming back from where we were before, I was way down there. You can take notice people down there. And then there's this whole other step that goes way up to here. So, in perspective, when you see this from the top here, you see this from the top, you can see they have some of the olden walls. Those walls and what remains of the towers, those would have been filled in. Obviously, they don't upkeep, they just keep the poles there. You'd have fillers and everything, but to give a lay of the land, again, straight up, you got yourself that mound. Go down this trail, and you basically just go up a little bit, and you're right at this second tier before you get to the top where I'm at, on the top platform. But when you look down from here, down towards the parking lot, and down beyond the parking lot is the river, you can definitely see the height difference. We are, I would say, where I am at, standing on the top of the mound as a perspective, we are at the same height, roughly, as that tree line. Not the tallest tree line, but the other tree line that's lighter, closer in view. We're pretty high up there. So, and you can see Crawfish River down through here, runs all along. They had irrigation. They had built rock dams, fish dams to trap fish, and I'm sure crawfish and all the other stuff, all of the other river life. So we'll walk back up here. I was going to cut through the grass, but ticks have been a little hungry, and this weather really does not slow their breeding habits down one bit, so it's unfortunate. Of course, back in the days when this was settled, from what I hear, there was no such thing as Lyme's disease. Lyme's disease was first detected, I believe, in the East Coast. Probably not too far from that one island up of New York. An island we won't talk about. But they moved their base of operations, a place that handles the most deadliest diseases in the world, something that used to be isolated on an island and have to physically be taking off the island in order to infect a human and infect, have like Hollywood movie shit go down. But yeah, there was no Lyme's disease back then. You didn't die. I mean, you had layers to protect from bugs, but still, there wasn't. I don't think native populations would have survived as they did if they had to run amok against ticks and other diseases like that. And if they did, I want the remedy book. So, as we're walking here, I know it's kind of a little boring listening to me ramble as we're walking here, taking the trail. Otherwise, you can just hear the nice birds and nature sound and my yapping. Got some pretty little flowers. It's kind of an interesting place to have flowers. I mean, most of this is just prairie grass, but most of the stuff in the prairie doesn't flower that pretty. So, yeah, oh, sorry. Cameraman, you have one job. Come on, Jimmy. Alright, so Aztalan is Wisconsin's most intensely studied archaeological site that in many ways remains a mystery. Located in northern Jefferson County, a region along the edge of the traditional Ho Chunk and Potawatomi territories, this town and Mounds center is preserved with modern Aztalan State Park, named Aztalan, is a misnomer that originated in 1837 when Nathan Hyer referred to this to be the legendary northern homeland of the Aztec civilization. So here's a little plaque, some other artifacts, some of the stuff that they... Sorry, I had a squirrel moment, but... So here's... You guys can kind of stop and read this stuff. All right, Aztalan is located within a drumlin field that is drained by Rock River and is parallel tributary to the Crawfish. These merge at Jefferson at about 5 miles south and north of the Crawfish River and meanders through hundreds of drumlins, alternating between marsh complexes and stream channels. So it just goes on to say the type of territory, the type of the lay of the land that this is in and around, stuff like that. I was waiting for those people right there to move so I can shoot the mound. And as you can see, here's like a northern wall. So, and it goes on talking about what they know about the Late Woodland and Mississippian culture and Cahokia. Alright, as you can see, this is another pretty tall mound. There is one more mound up in this direction, but it has worn down quite considerably. It has, I guess they use the term cultivated and then worn down. But we got some pretty fall colors coming in. Usually don't see that until much later in the season, but it's just a type of plant. Don't ask me. Somebody knows. Put it down in the comments. That'll be cool. Otherwise, we'll go up these stairs. Now, I'm assuming at one time these may or may not have been earthen mounds. A lot of cultures tend to like to bury stuff to preserve. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's other structures and stuff underneath here that's older than this. You do have the legend of Redhorn. For anyone who don't know about the legend of Redhorn, look that up. Kind of goes into giants and a little bit of the legends and stuff pertaining to that hero. He's considered a hero, but amongst the people, he was very tall in stature. One thing I wanted to tell you that was kind of cool. Right in the middle of this whole entire area that you see here, right smack dab in the center of the plaza, was two skulls. Two skulls, one facing east, one facing west. They were buried literally back to back to each other in the middle of the plaza. Pretty interesting. There's also been lots of reports of headless bodies being found in burial mounds. We also do have man mounds, effigy mounds that are in the shape of a human. There were, I think, 4. One of them told me earlier when I was kind of doing a little channel into the getting in touch with the vibes of the environment. Later, my friend who was doing the research had confirmed that yes, there were 4. So I was like, sweet, thanks for the intuitive confirmation. But yes, and as I gathered from the information around, the man effigies are here to protect the land and the people of the land. And one of them, unfortunately, that is around in this area has pretty much gone away. There is one in Baraboo, kind of on the other side of this place, on the other side of Madison. So from here, I would say a good, good 55 minutes to an hour away. Here's some information about the stockade. Focus, phone. Alright, so heading down to the Crawfish River. But yeah, so, yeah, and they just had to make a road through the other man mound's legs, so it kind of cut us off. You can't really patrol and guard the land and be a guardian of the land when you cut his legs off. It's not very nice. So yeah, we just got this whole wooded area here where they would have, I think, part of the living area, the residential area. And then, yeah, you have little bastion towers here. Oh, dang. I thought something scratched my leg. And so here we are down at the Crawfish River. But yeah, something, some type of plant, snarly plant, scratched me. Oh well, at least it's not a raspberry plant. Those things, they leave scars. So yeah, nice calm day on the river. Take a canoe, go up and down, check the traps, do some farming. Sounds like a pretty good life. We got some interesting practices. I mean, like I said, there's the headless bodies found, the skulls found in the middle of the plaza. We do have dare I say, giant skeletons, larger than normal human stature, found not too far away from here. I think they topped out at about 9 feet. But that's actually pretty common for the whole US. And for those who don't know about giants, yeah, well, gotta open up a book one of these times, or maybe a very old newspaper. They're all glittered with reports of them finding giant bones all over the place on the farm fields of America. As we know, many of them were the mound builders. And then over time they got bad rap, hunted down, had to, resort to cannibalism from here and there from time to time. But coming up to another plaque here. It looks like talking about agriculture and gathering. Let's see, corn, squash, domesticated plants. And then, of course, the wildlife. I mean, it is Wisconsin. We are a big hunting state, so we got a very large deer population. And wolves were reintroduced to northern Wisconsin a while back. I remember a kid in the 80s as we were being indoctrinated with a whole bunch of environmental stuff, a bunch of, save the planet, we're killing the planet, the ozone layer. You haven't heard diddly squat about an ozone layer in, 30 years? Oh yeah, because it healed itself. Weird. But another thing back then when I was a kid was wolves. Protect the wolves, all that kind of stuff. I remember being in a school gymnasium in, I'd say, 4th grade. So that would have been about 88, 89. And yeah, had people come and talk about all sorts of stuff. And they played Howling Wolf tracks and stuff like that. So also grew up on Captain Planet, thinking that, we had to save the environment. Of course, then I grew up and stopped drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, yeah, we do our damage, but we're literally a flea on a dog. One wrong move and we're flicked off, and things can go back to normal and go back to a homeostasis real quick. All of that carbon propaganda about taxing us, and it's like, no, you're not going to tax us for breathing and living. Not when they really don't care. They don't try to do anything about the environment. They just act like they do. They'll come in and they'll do stuff. I mean, I'm not a total dibbity downer, but I've definitely lived a long time to know that they do about minimal is what they can do and stuff the rest of the money back in their pockets. Because they know, as we know, that the environment is a lot more hardier. And there's oil all over the place. And it really doesn't do anything other than putting carbon into the air, which is really just plant food. When did science forget that? When did people forget that carbon is literally what plants eat? That if you want to deal with carbon emissions, just stop cutting down the trees and grow some trees. Otherwise, plants with a lot of carbon and nitrogen got some good growing. Why don't we utilize that to grow some food? You know? This planet isn't really overpopulated at all. It's just society is extremely mismanaged. And we're taught generationally what works for them during that time. And of course, like anything, everything's a business. So, and if everything's a business, sooner or later, greed will set in. That's a pretty big tree. Foot, 2, 3, 4 feet across. That was a pretty big damn tree. And there's another one cut off. It's a shame that they cut down biggest trees, as I was just saying. I mean, you got some big thick oaks, but now it just opens up for all of the prairie grasses and plants to do its thing. So yeah, we're just gonna walk back. I'll kind of talk about a few more things. Sorry about the camera. And then we'll do a second part video if you guys want. Like I said, I can come back and look at the museum, go through that, see what's all up in there. You can see the photos, but you know, it's always better to kind of get a better view of the things, because you can only see a photo from one angle. So, and I do believe at one point they had a scaled down model of this whole area. They have it online. You can see like they had the pictures of it on those plaques. The little model that they made of what the camp was, what it used to look like. So, but one more thing, the princess that was here, she, I believe, resides at Milwaukee. I know Jefferson County Historical Society has been working on getting her body back, because Milwaukee took her body and replaced it with a man skeleton. So evidently they figure that people won't know science or won't know the difference, but all it takes is one good old anthropology student to go, hey, that's a male pelvis, and the jig's up. So, but at least it's known. They don't really try to hide it. It's just kind of weird. It's like, well, what's up? Why take her skeleton? Why take everything that kind of goes outside the explanation of your story that you want to tell, his story? And why do you want to leave other stuff out? I don't know. But yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, there was one thing that I wanted to read. I was trying to remember. So, I remember now. And this comes from the book here, and it pertains to the pyramid of the moon. And it says, Aztalan have been generated at least in part by the underwater structures, which she said were supercharged with so much intense spiritual energy. She reminds us, too, of the strange stone excavators found buried in its own chamber at Aztalan's Pyramid of the Moon. When presented, the stone that they found, when presented to the tribal elders from the Winnebago tribe, they shrank away in horror and without explanation from the quote-unquote spirit stone. So, looked a little bit more into it. Spirit stones were kind of used as part of the cremation process. I guess they hold on, car, game on. All right. And so these spirit stones, they were used in the ceremonial burial practices, and they were used to basically push down the cremated bodies. Yummy. So they're patty makers. And so you could see that these stones, depending especially on the structure and the type of stone, quartz or any such stuff that resides in it. People know by now that quartz holds energy. It does a whole bunch of different stuff, but so if these stones are used to essentially weigh down the burning bodies, and as the burning bodies are being quote-unquote purified and everything is going up into the air, game on. And another car. Game on. All right. So you can imagine that over time, these stones, these spirit stones, were, I'm sure they held a lot of different types of energies. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, I did bring a compass because I wanted to show you guys that the pyramids do align to the cardinal points. So, I mean, it's pretty universal, which just kind of shows of a ancient unified culture and knowledge. My theory is crap really hit the fan. Really hit the fan. Kind of like where we think that, oh, our science and technology can get us anywhere, get us out of anything. Yeah, I'm sure they thought about that too. And were cocky enough to think that they could beat the odds. Well, some of them did, survivors. And these survivors of these cultures took with them the remnants of basic general knowledge that they had. And then you had the priest classes who knew by watching the stars and the tracking of everything, they knew that this stuff happens on a regular basis. And so they read the scriptures from people who also knew the signs, and was like, if you see these signs, get the fug out and try to head to safety. And repent and hope you've been a good person, because it don't matter. Judgment comes for all. So, getting back to the truck here. It's almost an hour video. You guys have waited long enough. So I'm gonna depart. Let me know in the comment section if you want a part 2, and I'll go visit the museum. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, watch out for some few other historical videos in the future about places here in Wisconsin and in the city of Madison. Some pretty old buildings. I have ideas. So, yeah, until next time, peace.